Fullscreen. Das ist nicht zu laut. Ja, From Builds of the Week Season 10, ne? Ja. Auch so ein dummes Bild, what the fuck. Oh Mann, ey. Ist schon ein bisschen laut, ne? Wir wollen halt natürlich auch nachher nicht Probleme mit irgendwelchen Musikrechten kriegen. Stellen wir mal unsere Musik wieder ein bisschen lauter. So ein Bild zum Beispiel, da hätte ich auch nicht so viel Spaß dran. Springt halt einmal alle, keine Ahnung, 2 Sekunden.
Thanks for joining us for today's live stream as we reveal our upcoming expansion, The Forbidden Sanctum, which launches on December 9th on PC and Mac and on December 14th on console. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so make sure you follow the instructions below in order to claim your Bloodguard wings. Here's what you can expect from today's live stream. We'll start by debuting the trailer for The Forbidden Sanctum, and we'll then do a deep dive on the League itself. We'll cover this expansion's new endgame revamps and content, and then we'll have a look at all the new skills we're introducing. We'll then reveal some new unique items and the massive buffs and rarity adjustments we have made to a variety of endgame unique weapons. We'll then briefly cover some balance topics that we have posted articles about recently, jewels, curses, and the replacement of the arch-nemesis monster mod system. Finally, we'll discuss the upcoming release of the optional Ruthless game mode before touching on some quality of life improvements and the new supporter packs. The livestream concludes with a Q&A session between Ziggy D and me, where we'll answer questions from Twitch chat. Then we'll drop the full patch notes. Let's get started with the trailer for The Forbidden Sanctum, which launches in 1 week.
Endlich. Endlich den Trailer sehen, den wir schon kennen. Nein? Wir werden es ja sehen.
Many have met their fate here in the shade of Fell Shrine. So, step lightly. But here you are bound by new rules.
Path of Exile aus der Sicht, ne?
Each step with gold to tempt you, a foe to wound you, a curse to spite you. But do not give up, for vast riches await the bold. Pillage this sanctum if you must. And one day you may uncover its secrets.
Ja, gucken wir mal, ne? Also, ja. Buff Endgame Unique Weapons. Ja, das Schwert musste auf jeden Fall gebufft werden. Wer kennt's nicht? Das sieht wie aus Elden Ring aus. Ja, dann sollen Sie jetzt mal bitte was davon zeigen. Wir brauchen Input. Gib uns Input. Ach ja.
The Forbidden Sanctum is an old Templar enclave, long rumored to be hidden beneath the Fell Shrine ruins. Abandoned for a long time, it is now controlled by a malevolent entity. In this league, you'll explore it, find out its secrets, and deal with the evil that lurks there. The Sanctum Challenge League is a roguelike game, played out one room at a time as you explore Rayclast and the Atlas in Path of Exile. In every area or map you enter, you can make a choice of which room in the Sanctum you will explore next. On the Sanctum map, you can see the contents of a few rooms ahead, enabling you to plot a path through its dangerous halls. And the Sanctum is dangerous. Like most roguelikes, you should not expect to be able to complete it on your first try. Getting to the deeper floors requires experience, knowledge, and luck. You should expect that your early attempts will fail, but over time, you'll be able to push yourself farther and farther. As you progress deeper into the Sanctum, you'll find a variety of treasures that will help you eventually fight your way to the dangers that await you at the end of its 4 floors. Eventually, by endgame, you may be able to push through all 4 floors to face the final boss. Every roguelike needs a resource to help you track how well the run is going. In the Forbidden Sanctum, it is your resolve, indicated by this bar here. As you explore the Sanctum, your resolve is threatened by the dangers within. When you lose all of your resolve, your Sanctum run ends. Your level of resolve is maintained between consecutive rooms on your run, but is only shown when you're in the Sanctum itself. The resolve mechanic applies equally to all build archetypes. Your resolve is reduced when you are hit by monsters or environmental hazards in the Sanctum, and these telegraphed attacks are not affected by regular Path of Exile defensive mechanics, such as evasion, armor, or block. While these attacks do some nominal damage to your regular life, the bulk of their impact is against your resolve. This mechanic provides a mechanism for tracking your progress between rooms, where your regular life pool would long ago have been recovered. Another aspect of the resolve system is that characters who are struggling can be ejected from the Sanctum without actually having to die, avoiding experience loss or hardcore death. So maintaining a healthy level of resolve is key as you navigate the Sanctum, and that means making careful choices of what rooms you enter. Let's have a look at some of the things that Sanctum rooms can contain. Afflicted rooms cause you to gain an affliction when you enter them.
Das hört sich nicht so gut an.
Afflictions make your Sanctum run more difficult.
Aber
For
muss man einfach
example,
Bosskiller
reducing your
spielen
resolve
oder was?
recovery, causing rewards to become hidden on the Sanctum map,
Weil Discharge,
or
ne?
causing Sanctum rooms to spawn
Geht's in den
volatile
Raum,
anomalies
zack,
that
Alter.
follow you. These minor afflictions accumulate as you get deeper and deeper into a run, making it more challenging. Major afflictions
endlich.
exist and are a big
Den Spell
deal.
zum Beispiel
They have
hätte ich auch gerne mal wieder
significant
gespielt.
consequences, such as
Ich hab
entirely
ewig nicht mehr
preventing the
gemacht.
recovery of resolve. So, a Sanctum run gets harder and harder as you pick up more afflictions. Sounds great. But every roguelike needs a way for you to gain power throughout your run. In the Forbidden Sanctum, that system is boons. Boons are beneficial buffs that help you as you progress through the Sanctum. Minor boons make things a little easier, such as slowing down monsters or adding a special shield to your resolve called Inspiration. Major boons don't come along often, but have large effects such as preventing you from receiving more minor afflictions, or recovering your resolve to 50% the next time you run out. Due to the vast variety of afflictions and boons, no
Ist
two
halt die
runs are
Frage,
the
hört sich
same.
das wieder sehr
Generally
interessant an, ne?
speaking, your best Sanctum runs are the ones where the afflictions you choose have little effect on you, and the boons either counteract them or have a large benefit for the strategy you're running. Some rooms in the Sanctum contain a fountain which will restore some of your lost resolve. Others contain afflicted fountains that restore even more resolve at a cost. Rooms with a treasure reward contain chests full of the Templar Aureus currency, a type of gold coin they used for commerce within their Sanctum. You'll also find some Aureus coins from monsters that you kill as you explore. These are picked up automatically, like Azurite, and are not tradable, and like your afflictions and boons, are lost when your Sanctum run ends.
Ja, endlich wieder
Some
nicht
rooms contain a
tradable
merchant who
Items.
accepts your Aureus coins in exchange for boons. Plan your purchases carefully, as you may encounter the merchant again later on with even more expensive boons to purchase. Occasionally, the sinister powers controlling the Sanctum will present you with the choice of making an accursed pact. You are given several pacts to choose from and can even opt to take all that you are offered. All pacts have a big upside and a big downside, such as exchanging a portion of your maximum resolve for a random major boon. It's very dangerous to make a pact, but if you pick the right circumstances, your gamble could pay off. In addition to rewards that help you progress through the Sanctum, many rooms let you immediately receive Path of Exile currency items, but with a twist. Whenever you're offered some currency items that you can receive right away, you are also offered a more valuable option that will be waiting for you after the boss fight at the end of the current floor of the Sanctum. It's a gamble, because if you fail your run before you reach and defeat the boss, you will not receive the reward you picked. Later on, you're offered the extreme temptation of getting a massive currency reward that is conditional on completing your entire Sanctum run without failing. At a specific point in the Forbidden Sanctum storyline, you'll
Das ist
discover a
wiederum
special
interessant.
altar that Templar relics can be placed on. These relics directly affect your Sanctum runs and are not lost when a run ends. They persist
wieder
throughout
so
the
eine
league as a
Mechanik.
permanent source of
Boah.
meta progression. Acquiring new and better relics is one of the ways you can push farther and farther with each run you try. Relics cannot be crafted and cannot be traded,
Die schaffen
as
es
they
auch
represent
einfach,
your personal
jede
progression
Season
throughout the league.
neue
You'll
Items oder so
accumulate more than you
reinzubringen,
can
die du
use
erstens
simultaneously,
irgendwo
so you'll have
verstauen
options to
musst,
fine-tune your
dann
strategy
craften
from run
musst
to run.
und die wieder
You
ein
can
neues
store your
Inventar
extra
hier
relics in the
brauchen und
relic
in
vault, a
deinem
free storage
Heist, also in
space like the
deinem
Expedition Vault.
Hideout auch noch mehr
We don't want to
Inventar.
spoil important story details, but the end boss of the Forbidden Sanctum can drop unique items from a pool exclusive to this league. Today we'd like to show you a unique amulet called Eternal Damnation. This amulet offers a powerful way to gain additional elemental mitigation by introducing the concept of elemental damage reduction. Despite the drawback of reducing your maximum resistances, if you have sufficient chaos resistance, this is more than compensated for. Because of the roguelike nature of the Forbidden Sanctum, defeating the boss of a floor is a difficult achievement and hence rewards a lot of experience. You may fail on the way, so if you do manage it, expect a good experience boost for your achievement.
Aber wenn der schon sowas sagt wie,
Another
ja, du wirst ja
reward
auch
you can find
failen,
is a
wie
special
eben
type
ganz
of
am
relic
Anfang,
called a
aber dann
sanctified
versuchst du
relic
es halt
that has
nochmal
mods
oder
that
so.
directly
Eieiei.
affect your character's build. You can only unlock one slot for this type of relic, and while these relics can't be crafted through conventional means, you may find special reward rooms in the Sanctum that can modify them. These relics exist for this league only and provide a boost to character power for players who are able to master the Sanctum. The Sanctum League offers a roguelike experience that tempts you into taking risks and rewards you if those pay off. There's a lot to explore in the Sanctum, and we can't wait to hear about your experiences next week. In each expansion leading up to Path of Exile 2's release, we're improving Path of Exile's endgame, with new content to explore and improvements to how you customize your endgame experience. In the Forbidden Sanctum expansion, we're revamping the Atlas tree, reworking how Eldritch altars function, and are introducing 2 new Atlas memories. The Atlas tree is generally working really well, but has a few problems we'd like to address. The tree offers you the ability to specialize in killing pinnacle bosses, providing extra rewards when you do so. While this sounds good on paper, it creates a situation where you're incentivized to specialize your tree for regular mapping, save up all of your boss fights, then respec fully into boss mode, and then do all of your saved up boss fights before specking back again. Ideally, the design of the Atlas tree would let you
Das
spec
ist
into one
eine
build
nicht
and then
gute
just play
Änderung
the game.
wieder.
We have removed all boss
Ich erkläre
bonuses.
auch kurz warum. Das ist nicht gut, das so zu ändern, weil, überlegt mal, ihr kennt den Boss, sagen wir mal nicht, ja? Wir haben halt auch nicht so viele Bosse bis jetzt gelegt, aber ihr geht zu diesem Boss rein, weil ihr auch wollt, also den natürlich killen wollt und Co., aber vielleicht noch nicht so erfahren seid, was das angeht. Und du gehst sowieso davon aus, dass du auf das sterben willst. Und die verändern das sogar, oder er sagt gerade, dass er es noch so weit verändern will, dass noch mehr in Sammeln und später Spielen gesteckt werden soll. Weiß ich nicht, dann spielst du es halt nie, dann verkaufst du die Maps halt immer, ne? Das ist schon
Just to Eldritch
schwierig.
altars that mostly affect their rewards, but will also affect gameplay decisions you make involving them. Some of the key changes include splitting up the basic currency, scarab, and divination card rewards to be explicit in their description of what rewards you'll get. For example, instead of map bosses dropping 3 unknown basic currency items, the altar specifically says which currency item they'll drop. As part of this change, we've removed some of the lower value yet quite common currency rewards from the pool, such as Orbs of Augmentation and Orbs of Transmutation. Speaking of scarabs, these will be less available from altars, but we've improved their availability elsewhere to offset this. Rusted scarabs can now drop from the core drop pool, and we've added a vendor recipe that allows you to upgrade your scarabs up to gilded using the normal 3-to-1 ratio.
Das ist schon mal
You can also
wichtig.
perform this action from your fragment tab using the new upgrade button. We have made reward types exclusive to different influences, so that you know which influence type to invest in if you want to target farm a certain reward. To give you a specific example, if you run maps influenced by, say, Eater of Worlds, you'll see Divine Orbs from the basic currency reward more than twice as often as before. We've also rebalanced rewards so that choices that affect boss drops or influence monster drops are comparatively more valuable. The Wrath of the Cosmos Keystone has been reworked. Previously, it was so rewarding that players felt obligated to use it despite its extreme level of difficulty. It has retained the risk versus reward element, but with the overall intensity toned down. You can now also get Awakened Gems from defeating Maven Witness map bosses. This additional reward helps further balance the expected returns from the various types of influence. For more detail on these changes, check out the Balance Manifesto we posted last week, or the upcoming patch notes. In the Lake of Calandra expansion, we introduced Atlas Memories. When applied to your Atlas, they unlock a sequence of maps that tells the story of an NPC's past. These stories manifest as specialized encounters that involve a new challenge and exciting rewards. In this expansion, we've introduced 2 new Atlas memories, describing events related to bestiary and domination. The bestiary memory line allows you to capture harvest monsters as beasts for your menagerie. These harvest beasts can be used in 9 new beast crafting recipes. These recipes cover an array of options. For example, you can remove one of the special modifiers from a Watcher's Eye Jewel and then add another. This can have potent results, but won't affect the life, mana, or energy shield modifiers. You can re-roll an Awakened Gem from one type to another. Another example is that you can also re-roll a Synthesis Implicit modifier. If your item has more than one Synthesis Implicit, it will randomly re-roll one of them. The Domination Atlas memory thrusts you into a tale of Pantheon gods that stand watch over their shrines. Like regular shrines, these are guarded by monsters and emit a buff that empowers the monsters until you claim that buff for yourself. This Atlas memory introduces a new set of shrines with specialized buffs, guarded by rare monsters that drop tantalizing rewards.
Okay, cool.
The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces a new type of shard that can drop from Harbingers, Fracturing Shards. When combined together into a full currency item, you get the Fracturing Orb, which behaves the same as the Fracturing Craft from Harvest. It can be used on any rare item with at least 4 modifiers. When the orb is applied, it locks do not affect that modifier.
Oops.
Items fractured in this way can only have 1 fractured modifier. Previously, this crafting option was gated behind the Oshabi fight in Harvest. Now that it has been rehomed to Harbinger, the Harvest crafting option is no longer available. This means that you'll be able to use your Harvest Life Force and Oshabi kills on other crafts. Because Fracturing Shards drop from Harbingers, you'll be able to target farm them by speccing into Harbinger content on your Atlas tree. The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces a number of new skill gems. In addition to some new melee Val
da bin ich
skills
jetzt
we'll
auch wieder
discuss later in the
gespannt.
livestream, there are 2 totally new skills that we'd like to unveil today. Volcanic
Zwei.
Fissure is a new fiery slam skill that can be used with staves, maces, axes, and unarmed attacks. Strike the
Okay.
ground to create a chasm that winds towards your target. This chasm can path around corners before erupting as the fissure gets as close as it can reach. It releases a burst of fiery projectiles that explode on striking the ground. Enemies hit by multiple impacts will take a lot of stacked damage. Use it up close for reliable bursts of damage, or aim far away to damage a larger area. Frozen Legion is an unusual spell, summoning a ring of icy statues that attack with your own weapon damage. This skill has multiple cooldown stacks and consumes all cooldown uses at once to summon a statue for each available cooldown. The statues perform a sweeping ice slash, and these sweeps can overlap, resulting in multiple hits against targets close to you. This spell can be used with staves, maces, and axes. The skill is particularly powerful with slow, heavy weapons, as while the statues will use your attack speed, you should instead prioritize the spell's own cast time and cooldown. This expansion also introduces many new Vaal melee skills. As you know, equipping a Vaal skill gem grants you both the Vaal and regular version of the skill. As you kill enemies, the gem charges up with their souls, and after a certain number are collected, the Vaal skill can be used
Da
once.
gibt's auch Wahlskill.
Most of the new Vaal skills introduced in this expansion are melee skills, and this results in an indirect buff to any melee builds that use one of these skills. Where previously you'd just be using your melee skill to kill enemies, you now get to periodically use a superpowered version of the skill.
Okay, das ist
If
schon
you
mal
like
cool.
Flicker Strike, you'll love Vaal Flicker Strike, as it really dials up the concept of letting fate take the wheel. Vaal Flicker Strike causes you to flicker dozens of extra times, slashing enemies. During this time, you don't deal any damage to the enemies you slash. You're quite vulnerable due to not leeching or generating fortify stacks. When you finish flickering, if you survived of course, you'll be rewarded with a single huge hit of damage against each enemy you slashed. Vaal
Okay,
Cleave
krass.
is a new Vaal skill that buffs the behavior of its non-Vaal version, in a similar way to how Vaal Reeve works. Vaal Cleave triggers 2 buffs, one when you kill a rare enemy, and one when you kill either a rare or unique enemy. The latter is a strong buff to regular Cleave, which you can keep up almost permanently if you're able to kill rare or unique enemies often enough. The bonus for killing a rare enemy is that you get to steal its mods for a time. You can enjoy part of the power of having a headhunter without actually needing to find one. Overall, Vaal Cleave is a pretty powerful upgrade to any melee build that could run Cleave. That +2 radius buff is looking pretty good now, right? Don't hurt me. We'll showcase the other new Val skills we're introducing over the coming week. The Forbidden Sanctum expansion introduces over 15 new unique items, from Sanctum exclusive uniques to ones that can be found from Path of Exile's pinnacle bosses. I'd like to show you 3 examples of these, designed by winners
Solange die tradable sind.
of our prior league's boss kill races. Progenesis is a unique amethyst flask that was designed by Ben and drops from the Uber Maven. It's a defensive flask that grants a mini version of the Petrified Blood effect, but without requiring you to be on low life. This is a useful tool to prevent you getting one-shot by large amounts of incoming damage in scary situations. Rational Doctrine is a unique jewel that was designed by Rawlings and drops from Uber Venarius. By manipulating your attributes, you can change how this jewel behaves. While the ideal dream outcome is that you manage to get your strength and intelligence tied for highest, enabling both of the benefits simultaneously, the jewel is still very powerful if it only grants your choice of permanent consecrated ground or permanent profane ground. Entropic Devastation is a pair of unique gloves that were designed by Gucci Pradas and dropped from the Uber Shaper. Currently, the ways to get Spell Impale are very limited. These gloves provide the powerful property of causing all of your spells to impale on crit. So let's talk about unique weapons, specifically endgame unique weapons. In many ways, the weapon is the most iconic and important item on a character, so it's very important that we make them exciting and worthy of their unique status. While some unique weapons have special properties that enable entirely new builds, others are best compared to powerful rare items as a primary source of your character's damage. We have to be very careful when pitching the power level of these unique weapons. If they're not powerful enough, then they're useless and are ignored, but if they're too powerful, then they discourage entire archetypes of characters from trying to find or craft rare weapons. Interestingly, the above problem doesn't apply to belts. Despite Mageblood and Headhunter both existing as extremely powerful unique items, people still craft plenty of rare belts. That's because Mageblood and Headhunter are extremely rare, and people don't actually expect they'll reliably get one in a league. Players tend to treat them as luxury upgrades to their build, rather than something they're certain to get. In this expansion, we're promoting 10 iconic but underused unique weapons to the same tier of rarity as Mageblood and Headhunter. We are buffing them a gigantic amount and are making them incredibly hard to find. Remember when Starforge used to be an exciting item? Well, after this change, it certainly is again. It still drops exclusively from the Shaper and the Uber Shaper, but it'll take a lot of runs or a lot of luck to earn it. Over the next week, we'll reveal the other unique weapons that have been massively buffed. We have targeted around 10 iconic underused unique weapons and have generally buffed only their damage stat, but by a lot. We've made a number of changes to jewels that are covered in a recent balance manifesto, but in case you missed it, we want to quickly summarize what the changes are. In the Forbidden Sanctum expansion, we have made jewels a better source of ailment mitigation by buffing the values of ailment-focused jewel modifiers and adding new modifiers that enable mitigation to a wider variety of ailments than before. We have also removed some ailment mitigation modifiers that were only available on jewels through corruption, because there are now better options through the regular jewel mod pool. This also means that other desirable corruption modifiers, like immunity to corrupted blood, are more likely to roll. We want the moment of finding a unique jewel to be way more exciting than it currently is. We've added a handful of new, very powerful unique jewels and have removed some old, less interesting ones. An example of one of these new unique jewels is Firesong, which propagates any modifiers to your ignite mitigation to other elemental elements. If you're able to substantially reduce the duration of ignites on you, then you can use Firesong to basically shrug off any elemental ailment.
No.
For full information about the other changes to unique jewels, check out the Balance Manifesto post we made recently. We've rebalanced curses to make them stronger where they matter most against unique monsters and pinnacle bosses. We have buffed several Hex-related unique items and reworked unique items that previously interacted with Doom. To replace the Doomsday Keystone passive, we have brought back a version of an iconic curse-related keystone from the past. We've introduced some powerful new unique items that interact with hexes, which we'll reveal in the lead up to launch. For more details on changes to curses, check out the Balance Manifesto we posted recently, or the patch notes that will come out after the live stream.
Okay, das müssen wir uns später irgendwann mal ansehen.
When we first created the Arch Nemesis monster mod system, our goal was to improve Path of Exile's outdated set of monster mods with new and interesting mechanics that have modern game balance. We feel that Arch Nemesis did introduce a lot of interesting mechanics, but it unfortunately had several of its own problems. We have replaced Arch Nemesis with a system that is more similar to the way monster mods worked in the past. The new monster mods are a lot simpler. They now each do one thing and very clearly state what they do. Each encounter with a rare monster is now less complex and is easier to understand in the heat of combat compared to Arch Nemesis. You'll still encounter challenging combinations of mods from time to time, but this emergent synergy will be rarer than it was under Arch Nemesis. The goal is that combat is interesting and varied, with moments that get your heart racing, but without the frustrations of the Arch Nemesis system. Let's talk about rewards. Under Arch Nemesis, it
Hoffen wir
often
es
felt
mal, ne?
mandatory to bring in a magic find culling character to kill some monsters for you in order to maximize your
Aber das hört sich
rewards.
sehr gut an.
In the new system, we've added a significant pool of new rewards to rares, but the reward that is on the monster is hidden and not associated with a specific mod, so you don't know what kind of rewards you will get until you kill the monster. Rare monsters with more mods are more likely to have these special hidden reward bonuses. To find out more about other balance changes that are taking place in the Forbidden Sanctum, check out the patch notes, which will be available when the livestream ends. Over the last year or so, some of our senior developers have been tinkering with a more challenging way to play Path of Exile. We've been publicly alpha testing this mode, known as Ruthless, for the last month, and are planning to make it available to anyone who's interested alongside the launch of the Forbidden Sanctum next week. Ruthless is an optional additional character flag like Hardcore or Solo Self-Out that completely changes how Path of Exile feels to play. Ruthless is a lot more difficult than regular Path of Exile, but it doesn't achieve this by making the monsters harder to kill. It instead focuses on reducing character power through extreme item scarcity, limited crafting, and many other changes such as support gems being drop only. We've posted an article about the philosophy and rules of Ruthless on pathofexile.com/ruthless. We plan to release this mode alongside the Forbidden Sanctum expansion in a week.
Die
In
sollen
addition
ein
to
Mod
being a
rausbringen, wo es
character flag
leichter
like
ist, nicht
Hardcore or Solo
schwerer.
Self-Found, it's also available as a modifier for private leagues. To be clear, the Forbidden Sanctum League content can be played in Ruthless with appropriately balanced rewards. Ruthless is still very experimental during 320, and we won't be afraid to make mid-league balance changes to it during this experimental phase. Ruthless is not for everyone, but so far it has found a supportive and growing group of players who enjoy the additional challenge that it brings. If it sounds like something you're interested in, then try it out next time you're looking for a new way to enjoy Path of Exile. This expansion also contains a number of small quality of life improvements.
Da bin ich
Some
auch mal wieder
examples
gespannt.
are Divine Vessels can now be used by right-clicking them rather than taking them to Sin. On the player overhead life bar, the energy shield bar is split into a separate bar. You can now
Nice.
right-click an itemized Temple of Atsuatl to see its layout. And most importantly, beast crafting recipes that add mods to flasks now actually say what the mods do. We'll post more
Wow.
information about these and other quality of life
Die können wir
improvements in
das
the
ja auch
lead
mal
up to
verwenden.
release. Today we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Forge and Gemling packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, plus several exclusive microtransactions. These packs will only be available for the duration of the Sanctum Challenge League and will leave the store forever in 3 months. As always, these microtransactions are entirely cosmetic and do not affect your character's progression or power. The Forge series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Clockwork back attachment ramps up as you build a kill streak, building pressure and releasing it when your streak ends.
Das ist natürlich übel geil.
The Delirious
Muss man auch
Hideout
wieder
decoration
sagen, ne?
lets you summon Delirium Fog in your hideout at will, complete with strange voices and terrifying apparitions.
Feeling okay? You're looking a little pale. Exile.
Das ist schon sehr
The
nice.
Forge Guard armor set summons a hammer and anvil so that everyone nearby can watch you craft.
Oh nein.
The Ethereal Fusing effect turns your item linking attempts into a spectator sport. If you manage to hit a 6 link, people watching are even prompted to send a congratulatory message.
Oh Mann. Das
Summoning
wird
the
so
Crow
abused
Storm
werden.
portal
Ich sag's euch,
effect causes
Leute.
a murder of crows to erupt from the portal. The
Scheiße.
portal becomes dormant if you are too far away from it, causing the crows to take to the skies. The High Templar weapon effect smites the undead you fight and scours the souls of those you put to rest. The Gemling Pack series also has 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Beehive weapon effect lets your weapon play host to a swarm of angry bees, which erupt from the hive whenever you hit an enemy with the weapon. Critical hits cause the hive to send out its best warriors. The Stampede Quicksilver Flask makes you the leader of your own personal rower herd. Activating the flask causes a host of ghostly rowers to charge alongside you. This is the Gemling Artificer armor set. It is inlaid with gems that match the gems you've socketed in your items. Crafting
Das sieht
gems
auch
with
wieder
Gem
nice
Cutters
aus.
Prisms, Val
Muss man auch
Orbs,
wieder
or
sagen,
regrading lenses visualizes the
So
process
Skins
for all
und
to
Co.,
see.
das haben die auch wieder drauf.
This armor
Ne?
set also includes alternate gem level up
Ich hoffe,
effects.
sie haben noch nicht daran mehr gearbeitet als an den anderen Sachen.
Prospero's ring blesses you with a constant shower of coins, and it helps you thank players you've traded with through a hearty fist bump. The consuming ooze pet bounces alongside you and devours corpses in your wake, spitting out a tidy pile of bones. Finally, this pack allows you to reunite with Kadiro Perandus, inviting him to your hideout as a vendor. In addition to buying items from you and using his connections to accept your divination cards, he'll provide commentary on your goods, equipment, and anything else he sees fit to judge you for.
That might be a little too much to drink, even for me.
Kadiro has hundreds of lines of voice acting.
What? Oh, a mighty headhunter. I'm so impressed. Try to duck when the brain fragments splatter everywhere. You wouldn't want to sully your armor.
These new packs are
Oh.
available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase. Purchases like these directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2, and we really appreciate your support. Meanwhile,
Ja,
the
dann sag
Knight
das
and
zu
Rogue
PoE
packs leave the
2.
store forever in 1 week, so now's your last chance to purchase them. The Calandra edition of Kirik's Vault Pass is only available until the end of the Calandra League, and will be replaced with a new set of unique items when the Forbidden Sanctum launches. By the way, we're hoping to film Season 11 of Build of the Week once the Forbidden Sanctum comes out. If you want to submit your build for the season, share your build guide on the class forums on pathofexile.com. Next up, we've got the Q&A with Ziggy D. Once that ends, we'll post the full patch notes for the Forbidden Sanctum. Over the next week, our community team will post the expansion's challenge rewards, information on how to update your item filters, all new and changed gems, and information on how to prepare for launch. On launch weekend, we expect to release the new mystery box, and we'll follow up with the new Kirik's Vault Pass in the days after launch. Thanks for joining us and checking out the Forbidden Sanctum. We can't wait to join you in Rayclast on December 9th. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready in chat.
Ja gut, das werden wir uns auf jeden Fall nicht mehr reinziehen. Bei dem Q&A, ne, wie gesagt, sind wir selten dabei, weil, ja, also, da können die viel erzählen, aber was wirklich Fakt ist, ist halt das, was sie hier raushauen, weil, ja, das auf jeden Fall, das ist, woran sie schon gearbeitet haben. Ne? Alles andere wird dann wieder ganz anders werden. Oder gar nicht erst kommen, oder, naja. Also, nur um nochmal auf die Probleme auf die von dem Video, was wir uns jetzt angeguckt haben, zu gehen. Ne? Da hatten wir jetzt schon eben besprochen, was Sache ist. Ne? Dass halt die Rare Mobs und Co., das haben sie auf jeden Fall gehört anscheinend. Ne? Das war ja, da wurde ja gesagt, so, yo, Rare Mobs überarbeitet und alles drum und dran.
Good morning, Exiles. Welcome back
Das
for another
wäre
Q&A.
machen wir da mal leise. Dann ist es halt auch so, dass wir auf jeden Fall, also sehr wahrscheinlich, wenigstens mal reingucken werden. Ich weiß zwar nicht, ob es am Liga-Start ist, weil ich glaube tatsächlich, diese Liga ist wieder etwas, also man muss doof gesagt ein Bosskiller-Bild spielen. Und die meisten Builds bei uns, so wie es wie Flickerstrike und Co., da brauchst du gewisse Armor-Teile entweder für, damit du das durchgehend laufen lassen haben kannst. Ne? Ansonsten verlierst du Frenzy Charges bei Flickerstrike. Das ist halt immer dumm. Dann, oder du musst einen anderen Spell verwenden, was halt auch, also Frenzy zum Beispiel, also aber auch nicht das ist, was wir wollen. Und die anderen Boss-Killing-Sachen, die wir bis jetzt gespielt haben, sind noch nicht ausgereift genug, um zu sagen, ja, damit können wir von Anfang an bis zum Ende hin spielen. Es gibt noch ein, zwei andere Sachen, die ich ausprobieren wollte, wie gesagt. Einmal haben wir immer noch kein Crackling Lands gespielt, das wollten wir ja letzte Season machen, war aber dann doch nicht so gekommen. Und als zweites, also wegen dem neuen Skill, hatten wir natürlich gesagt, jo, dann probieren wir lieber den neuen Skill natürlich aus. Und als zweites haben wir jetzt natürlich noch diesen, ich weiß nicht wie das heißt, wo du den Hammer in den Boden rammst und das dann schön die Eisexplosion machst. Ich weiß gar nicht, diese Dreifach-Explosion in der Mitte macht das extrem viel Damage, das ist auch gut zu Bosskillen und so. Von ihm haben wir eben lustigerweise ein Video gesehen. Die Leute, also sprechen natürlich jetzt miteinander und Co. Er hat sich wahrscheinlich komplett darauf vorbereitet. Ich weiß nicht, ob der auch nur gewisse Fragen fragen darf oder so, ne? Aber wir hören uns das halt, also guckt euch das gerne selber irgendwann mal an. Aber ich würde sagen, das ist nichts, wo wir jetzt Interesse dran haben. Wir gehen jetzt auf jeden Fall eine kurze Pause von, ja, sagen wir mal 20 Minuten. Und dann geht es hier mit GTFO weiter. Ob, wann und wie wir hier reinstarten werden, werde ich dann auch im Stream besprechen. Aber diese Woche auf keinen Fall. Ne? Auf gar keinen Fall. Ich weiß gar nicht, ob man, wann die Liga dann startet. Play free am 9. Dezember. Ja, siehst du, dann müsste ich mir auch keinen Stress machen, weil diese Woche habe ich safe keine Zeit mehr. Also Sonntag ist der erste Tag, wo wir theoretisch noch was umlegen könnten und da hätten wir auch andere Zeiten noch, die wir beanspruchen wollen. Andere Sachen. Wir haben halt aktuell noch Horror-Games, die wir am Aufnehmen sind und so. Genau. Ja, aber war nice, muss schon sagen. Die Items, die sie gewafft haben, Endgame-Items, ja cool. Müssen wir uns jetzt auch mal irgendwann angucken. Announcements. Was ist denn? Stand das hier irgendwo? Und ich glaube, Expansion Announcements, Supporter Packs. Hier steht es halt nicht direkt bei, ne? Ist das hier bei? Nee. Es gibt ja eine Möglichkeit hier andere Sachen noch zu machen. Bock, nice, Bock. Let's go. Ey, Leute haben wieder Bock, denke ich mal, aber ja, müssen wir natürlich auch gucken. Announcements, Livestream, Livestream, Twitch Drops. Dafür interessiere ich mich jetzt nicht so sehr. Jeder kann sich gerne diese Flügel holen da, wie er will. Ich weiß gar nicht, ob bei mir die Twitch Drops an sind, wahrscheinlich schon, aber ich hätte sie zumindest nicht ausgestellt, ne? Hier, das hier sind diese Wings. Aber was wir gucken wollten, sind die, warte mal. Wir brauchen von PoE im Bestfall Edge-Notes. Ich glaube nicht, dass hier jetzt noch in nächster Zeit was kommt. Die meinten ja auch, dass es direkt nach dem Stream online ist. Vielleicht ist die noch nicht da oder ich hab's jetzt nicht genau im Kopf. Das ist hier halt nur die Flügel, ne? Endlich mal wieder Flügel. Ach, gut. Aber ansonsten, war es all in all, denke ich, gar nicht mal so bad. Es gibt halt schlimmere Situationen auf jeden Fall. Red-Werbung. Aber ja. Vielleicht geht ja auf YouTube was. Wir gucken hier nochmal kurz. Ja, zack. Nee, hier steht gar nichts dazu, lustigerweise. Gut, dann würde ich sagen, gehe ich jetzt mal kurz in die Pause. Und sag mal bis nachher.